G'day and welcome to Effing One podcast. It is Australia's only dedicated Formula One podcast. And 2019, we are back, baby. We're back. We're bringing F1 back. Sorry, too much? Maybe a little bit. I like to sing at the start of the season. It seems fair. It seems like the thing to do. And I'm excited because Formula One is back and it's all new. It's brand new. Welcome to Formula One podcast. This is, well, it's Effing One podcast. Did I say Formula One podcast? This is not a Formula One podcast. Trust us, they would not employ us. We're not that employable, folks.
No.
That's why we had to change it to Effing One. Because it's copyright, Formula One. If we say Effing One, it's not copyright. So we win. Luke.
Adam.
My trusty sidekick. Or I'm more yours trusty sidekick, really.
Elevated hand slap.
High five.
No, you do the intros, man.
High fives are
I'm your
always
sidekick.
good on a podcast.
They are.
You can't see them, but you can hear them.
You can hear a slap, and
Yep.
you hope it's two hands slapping. It's not something else.
Correct. Although we have been known
Oh, yeah.
to give ourselves a little slap on the bum. Sports guy. Sports.
Or sometimes a tackle whack.
Tackle whack. Tackle whack. Okay, well, this season is going to be there. There's a Formula One car in the background. You might have heard that. Just taking off
What was that?
in your apartment complex. By the way, love the digs. The 2019, the brand new digs.
Welcome back.
Very nice. Producer Pete is here.
Downstairs.
Yep. Just producing the quality of audio that you've come to
He's
expect.
producing something down there. I think it's more methane.
There's a lot of methane coming from the lower quarters. So basically, we here at Effing One Podcast, we try to make F1 great again. We are constantly striving to make F1 great. We come up with some crazy ideas. We throw them around. We take them to Formula One headquarters. Formula One headquarters knowingly and usually slam the door in our face. But it doesn't stop us from trying.
No.
We're a couple of kids trying to get a kick. And that's what we do.
Yep.
So-
We're ready to go on, coach. Ready to go on.
We're ready to go. Get on there. You're a bench warmer. We're the bench warmers.
That's right.
That's cool. No, that's cool with us.
With the size of my ass, I warm a lot of bench.
Correct. Good news for a little Aussie podcast with not many followers, to be honest, except your mum.
Hi, Mum.
Luke's mum is a regular. In fact, this year we're going to get your mum on. We're going to get insight.
We better get her soon because she's about to go on a caravanning holiday.
Well, I mean, they've got reception.
Yeah, of
so
course.
she'll always be willing to.
We'll just call her in.
What about the meals that she prepares for us?
Oh, she's got them frozen already.
Frozen. They're frozen.
we bought an extra freezer.
Excellent.
Just for
Excellent.
Mum's meals.
Good, because she's your mum is famous for cooking.
She is.
Every single
By
place-
fame, you mean 17 people? Yes.
yes,
They know about
they
Mum.
love it. They love it. What she normally does is prepares a little ensemble of deliciousness for each country that we're visiting.
She does.
Which is nice. So we'll get into that, and we also like to dress up. We like to dress up in the native costume of that featured race.
We do.
It's something that we do. Producer Pete forces us to do it. He normally throws me in the dress. I don't know why.
He doesn't force you into that, mate. You jump into it. Head first.
Willingly.
You're like Scrooge McDuck diving into coins. That's
Yeah.
you into a geisha dress.
Kicking and screaming into a geisha dress saying, oh no,
It feels so good.
this is really snug. This fits me perfectly. This is shocking.
Pete
Guys.
seems to spend a lot of time measuring your inner thigh.
Yes, he does. He really lingers.
He's thorough.
So this year, for 2019, Formula One is a little bit different. There have been some regulation changes.
There has.
The liveries, which is the Duco, the paint jobs of the car, have been released.
Yep.
We've seen that. We've had 2 weeks of pre-season testing, and we're going to talk about that as well. And we might even have a little quick chat to Sebastian Vettel, a quick Skype chat. Very lucky for a small Aussie podcast.
Will I be doing this again? Or is he just talking to you now because you're the
No, well, he doesn't.
proprietor of the dick pics?
Well, he has made it clear that he'll only chat to us if you're doing the interviewing and I'm out of the room. So that's as long as you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
sure?
Yeah.
So Luke will be interviewing Sebastian Vettel. I won't be here. Sebastian doesn't like me that much. I get
He
it.
only likes one thing in you.
Yeah. So that's all part of this podcast. So let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any time. We've got so much to get through for 2019. Firstly, can we take a look at the liveries from last year? Some slight differences. Obviously, Mercedes, last year's champions, Ferrari, the runners-up, they never changed their livery.
Mercedes
always
changed
go.
a little bit towards the rear. They added some nice little patterns towards
Okay.
the fin.
Yep.
But yeah, other
Not
than
much.
that, it still looks quick.
Yep.
The Ferrari has gone for a matte finish. It's a little bit more orangey than the red, and it's gone for matte. So it looks really, really nice on track.
Kind of like the Red Bull. Last year they brought in the matte finish.
Yep. Red Bull still has their matte finish and
Yep.
the same paint scheme that they've had for a while.
So
They did
Red Bull has exactly the same.
exact same.
Yep.
That's their paint scheme.
Yep.
Exactly the same as before. They did bring out a launch livery, but didn't do a day on track with it.
Yep.
I think Alfa Romeo did maybe a filming day livery.
Why do they bother? Why do they bother having a completely different livery for the cameras and they never bother using it? What a waste of time.
It's a waste of time, and it's a money that could be more well spent on us.
Correct. And the liveries always look much better for that photo day, that first reveal, and they bring out some cruddy old crappy version
See,
for
I can
testing.
understand what they did previous years where Red Bull would bring out their camo livery. So you couldn't really, if you took a photo of it, you wouldn't know where the bodywork moves and the shape of it because the camouflage kind of puts you off
I
the
see.
shapes and sizes of things.
It's a tactic.
It is a tactic, not a tic-tac, which is something that freshens your breath.
Very fresh.
They've managed to use it just for the launch, and then
Yeah.
they buggered it off. So I don't know, waste of time, waste of money.
It does seem pointless.
Same with Sauber, or now Alfa Romeo, as they're now known. There's no more Sauber in that team. It's
Yep.
only the Alfa Romeo. Same with Racing Point. That's their now name, not Force India anymore.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And Sauber had a pretty flash at their big reveal, pretty flash-looking livery. Looked awesome. And they brought out this really boring version of Alfa Romeo, which is a real shame. It's kind of like Red Bull last year. You went, yeah, the camo livery, awesome. Can't wait to see that fly around a circuit. And then they brought out the boring, typical Red Bull. Anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Williams brought out, they've changed their livery
That is
significantly.
different. That is different.
They've got a new sponsor, Rocket.
I quite like the Williams livery, the new look.
Front on, it looks good. The first images they put out was quite dark, and I'm like, I can't really tell much of that. And then they showed some more photos later on. And I'm like, oh, why didn't you show that in the first place? But a lot of their photos they launched with weren't actual photos of the car. They were computer-generated images.
Right. Okay.
So a lot of the initial livery launches were all computer-generated. They weren't actually this year's car because they don't want to show what the new car is, and you wouldn't see potentially the new car until Melbourne, the full new car, but they're going to test individual parts throughout the season, throughout the pre-season testing, which they've just finished. And that's why in week one, Mercedes had a completely different car.
Let's
Week two.
not get too
No, I
much
won't
into,
jump
into,
ahead.
in the testing. Let's go to the livery. Renault, slightly different livery. I like the look of Renault.
Yeah.
Looks really nice.
Yeah.
Sharp.
Looks fast.
Very fast.
But
Black.
will it be fast? Daniel didn't have didn't launch his new helmet. He hasn't launched it yet. He had a testing helmet. It was like pink and pastel blue, and it had test written all over it, and it had forward on the side,
Oh,
just so you know which way to point your helmet in case of
perfect.
you
Got mixed up.
yeah.
Decided to wear
It's
it
like when you
backwards.
put a bike helmet on, it's got front at the front.
It's normally self-explanatory, but
I love when
yeah.
people wear it backwards. Idiots.
It's so funny. McLaren.
McLaren,
New livery.
newish, yeah, a little bit more blue with the orange, and they've gone some geometric designs at the back and the front, especially around the numbers as well. Fernando Alonso was actually at the second test.
He was.
He
He
was there,
was.
checking things out.
I liked previous. There was always something about McLaren that looked ominous and tough and fast. Ever since they went to the orange, it just doesn't really look very. It doesn't look fast, and it's not fast.
It's not fast.
Doesn't help that it doesn't look fast. It looks. It's good if you got a good-looking car.
So I used to play cricket, and I wasn't a very good batsman.
No.
But when I walked out there, I looked like a batsman.
Yeah, you were.
No, it's incredibly
just
shit house.
good at defending the stumps. You put your head over the ball, and
Yep,
you
put
got
my pads in front of the stumps.
you got a lot of bruises. You got
Yep.
a lot of hits to the head,
Yep,
which explains a lot. But you were good.
fine.
You were good out there. Racing Point
Racing Point have gone.
changed.
Yep,
It's
racing.
changed.
Yep, it's changed. Still the pink. Still got a main sponsor of BWT, which is a
Yep.
water supplier, I believe. Yeah, it's a nice looking car. Bought by Daddy's money.
Yeah, a lot of money there. Alfa Romeo we've touched on as well, kind of a little dull. And Toro Rosso, very similar to last year.
Very similar to last year. Yeah,
And Williams, completely new sponsor, new look, quite like it. Top 3 liveries. Luke, give it to us.
Ferrari number 1 for
Ferrari
me.
number 1.
I like the matte.
Yep.
And it's more orangey than the red, so it's more like a mid-90s Ferrari. Looks good. Number 2, I do like the Renault. Yep. And number 3, the Haas.
Haas is a good-looking
Oh,
car.
the dark
Did
black.
we not mention Haas?
No, we didn't.
No, they've got a completely different sponsor.
Rich Energy Drinks.
Rich Energy.
Which they were plugging themselves, saying that they're faster than Red Bull. We'll see about that come race 1.
That's interesting. Very fast car. I think there's currently a lawsuit against the Rich Energy logo. Apparently they stole the deer horn, the stag horns.
From John Deere?
From a British... some British company. So that's currently going through the courts at the moment. So interesting to see what they turn up with in Melbourne. If it's just a dead head on it,
It's just a giant R.
it's literally a deer's head on it.
With
This
his
is a-
tongue sticking out and 2 crosses over his
Right?
eyes.
Yeah, perfect. But that's a good-looking car. That's a throwback to the Senna days. The Lotus,
Lotus, yep.
funky.
And even the Lotus that Kimi Räikkönen won in a few years ago. He won the Melbourne Grand Prix. in
Yeah,
that
that's a good-looking car.
style of car.
So you
It
gi-
looks a little bit quick too.
Are you giving Haas third place?
I'll give it 3rd place.
Yeah, see, I'd mix it up. I'd go Haas first. I'd flip those around.
You would.
I would. Now, let's talk about regulations 2019. There's been some big changes. With Formula One, they have tried to make overtaking easier, passing, and for cars to get closer. So the wash, I'm no technical whiz, you're the technical whiz here. Correct me if I'm wrong. They wanted to get move the wash away so it's easier for cars to sit behind and overtake,
Yes.
generally speaking.
Yep.
So you've got a lot of changes, especially front wing, much wider now. The front wing goes all the way to the edge of that front wheel, where it before went maybe halfway. So that has a huge aerodynamic difference.
Yep. So the front wing is 200 mil wider.
Yep.
So, and it encompasses the front wheels. So it's 20 centimeters and it's 20 mil, so 2 centimeters higher off the ground
Right.
for the front wing. There's fewer elements, fewer flick ups on the front wing, and the idea is to reduce dirty air. The idea of those flick ups and everything was to channel air around the front wheels, because the front wheels tend to have a lot of, when they hit the air, it seems to make it too turbulent. So they want to try and channel the air so it's nice and smooth when it comes off the tyre.
Has it resulted in faster cars?
Times are very similar. So the idea was to clean the air up.
Just to make it easier for a car to sit behind it so then they could overtake.
So there's less dirty air.
Right.
But the thing is, if you're punching a hole at 300 kilometers an hour, there's still going to be dirty air behind for a while. So you're not going to be following closely. The only way you can follow closely with a racing series is you either slow them down or make them less aero dependent.
Right.
If you want them to follow closely, you look at Formula E. These guys can go nose to tail the whole way around because they're not that fast.
Right.
You look at V8 supercars or supercars in Australia, they can be closer because they're not so aero dependent. They're not as aero dependent as Formula One cars. Formula One cars are built in a wind tunnel. The idea is clean air comes onto the car. It says they don't design a car that runs behind another car.
No.
They design it for pure air coming in to everything and going around everything. They don't have it behind dirty air. So with the turbulent air, when you're punching a hole at 370 k's in Monza, you'll get that slipstream effect because you're not hitting full air. You're getting all this disturbed air. But going around a corner, you need air on your wings. And unless you make the cars less aero dependent, whether it's through manual, like ride height adjustments, like if you can, they used to do it like ground effects ways, being able to adjust the car's ride height, like a DRS situation, which I've commented on, making F1 great again. So that's their idea. Clean the wing up so it's not so aero dependent, so it cleans.
Yep.
For the car behind.
Is there barge board differences as well now?
They've moved barge boards forward. They've made less elements.
The reason for that being?
Same idea.
Okay, for air.
Yeah, because they're really flicking up air and making it turbulent through all these things. So they're just trying to, even the rear wing's 100 mil wider and 20 mil taller, and the DRS opens 20 mil wider, making it 25% more effective.
And then a better top speed? Is that the theory behind that?
Yeah, with DRS.
Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg said it's like having a parachute when
it's not open.
When it's open, and when you flick it down, it's like boom. It's like a parachute just pulling you back.
Yeah.
Let alone the braking that comes from F1.
Yeah.
It's interesting they want closer racing, but they make the rear wings wider, which would then create more width of disturbed air.
Right.
So, what are you doing?
A lot of the drivers had a lot of doubts whether the changes would make a difference. The difference that the F1 wanted to make for more overtaking, I think, is what the jury's still out with that.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get a massive change in racing, and this is trying to make small gains.
And the times are really quick. The times are
on par
with last year.
Yeah. But yeah, with a wider and taller front wing, they're creating more drag.
Yep.
In fact, studies have shown that it's more drag than the City Mardi Gras, which is, I think, next week.
There's a lot of drag in the City Mardi Gras.
Huge amount of drag, but not as much as a Formula One rear wing.
No. Did you get the outfit that you were...
How's your outfit?
Always good. Always very nice.
Yeah, very accommodating.
Very tight.
Arseless chaps.
Tight.
Just for you.
Yes.
And they've also added lighting strips on the back of the rear wing, just to make it easier to see in heavy rain conditions.
Like it.
Mm-hmm. Also, another change in F1 for this year, minimum weight increases from 733 kilos to 740 kilos. The increase of 5 kilos of maximum fuel allowance to 110 kilos.
Yes.
Now, they can run a Grand Prix on 105.
Right.
They've made it 110. You're not going to be... They won't be using 110. But the idea is, because they didn't want people fuel saving, because there was parts of the race where they fuel save. But the reason why they fuel save is because they deliberately underfill them.
Yeah.
So they're like, if we carry another 10 kilos, that's like a third of a second a lap.
Right.
So don't. We're going to run you less. So there's going to be a point in this race where you're going to have to lift and coast.
Right.
That's what they do. Because they're obviously not quick enough to run with the top 2 or 3 teams. So if we can maybe be a little bit lighter on race fuel, then that might get us up there. Because there's going to be a time where they can't overtake you, or there won't be a possibility of overtake you, and that's all built into their strategy. So I don't think anyone's going to run 110 kilos.
Yep. In fact, the drivers have put on some weight this year as well. And a lot of muscle, allowing the drivers to put a bit of weight on for the overall weights. Mm-hmm. Drivers seem pretty happy about that.
Oh, yeah, I would be too.
Because they used to watch their weight like crazy. Some of the bigger drivers, Hulkenberg, Dan's big-ish.
Yeah.
You're taking a video of me right now.
I am.
Nice. Hello. What are you doing? This is just awkward. So the bigger guys, they can put on more weight now. So the little guys, they can really stack it on.
Yeah.
They can really just dine out.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Some ribs and wings.
Well, somewhat. Like, they still need to be under 80 kilos.
Right.
Which is a smidge under
80 kilos?
Under what we are.
Good Lord. Can't remember the last time I was 80 kilos.
Remember that day?
I must have been like in high school. I was 80 kilos.
I was about 3 months old.
Yeah, so lots of changes and a lot of new drivers as well, Luke, on the grid. It's really off-putting. I can't concentrate when you're filming me.
Everyone wants to see your face.
Hi, Mum. So new drivers on the grid. Well, let's look at the lineups firstly. Mercedes have gone for the same as last year.
Yep.
We've got Hamilton and Bottas.
Yep.
Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel. New driver promoted, Charles Leclerc. And he is, it must be 21, I think.
I'm tempted to call him Chuck.
Chucky?
Chuck Leclerc.
Looks like he's had a pretty cruisy life. Looks a bit of a pretty boy. Good-looking rooster. If you're into 10-year-olds. He looks like a 10-year-old. He looks like a 10-year-old.
Have you thought about joining the Catholic Church?
No, Vicar. Oh, Vicar. Archbishop.
That's one of Jimmy Carr's jokes.
Yeah.
Where he goes, I love the Catholic Church. You know, all the kneeling and the sitting. I just wish the priest would choose a position and fuck me.
Can we do that on this podcast?
Is
that okay?
Shout out to Cardinal Pell.
Cardinal?
I think he'll just be called George Pell soon.
Big fan.
No, he's not a big fan of the show.
They have decided not to rescind his cardinalship.
Of course not.
Did you see that? Anyway.
They're going to own it.
Yes. No. What were we talking about again? I'm totally thrown by the cardinal. The drivers. Charles Leclerc, Ferrari. Moving on to Red Bull. New driver. We've got Max Verstappen, and we've also got...
The gas man, Pierre Gasly. Steps in.
He's a big fan of
the
Effing...
absence of...
Big fan of Effing One podcast.
He is.
Pierre
We
Gasly.
actually had some likes from Ryan Briscoe.
Oh, fantastic.
Ex-Australian Formula 1 test driver.
Yeah.
And... Oh, someone else. James Hinchcliffe.
James. How is he?
He's an IndyCar driver.
Yep.
Yeah, he's doing well. So shout out to those boys.
Get those boys on this podcast very soon, I think.
Yeah.
We'll have to get them on.
We'll get Ryan Briscoe on by the end of the year, I'm sure.
Get Bristles on.
Bristles. G'day, Bristles. You didn't know your nickname was Bristles, did you? Bristles?
It is now Bristles.
You don't have a mustache, do you, Bristles?
Fuck you, mate. Enjoy it. Enjoy your nickname. You dickhead. Renault. Of course, Dan the personality, Ricardo, Aussie driver. He is in the seat with Hulkenberg after that the biggest news of 2018. Dan Rick leaving Red Bull to go to Renault. That was huge. Did it on a plane halfway through the season on the way to America.
Yep.
Went, you know what? I'm out. I've had enough of getting the secondhand shit pieces of Max Verstappen's car. And it was right. And suspiciously,
I don't have the X-Files music.
One of us said at that point, they won't let Dan finish in front of Max. Guess what? That's exactly what happened. They didn't let him finish in front of Max for the rest of the season. Whether you think that's conspiracy theory, or you just think that Red Bull was dicking around with Dan, which is more likely. So that was part of the reason he wanted to leave. He's now in Renault.
Yep.
And it looks pretty good. They've arguably got the best driver lineup, wouldn't you say?
I think they do. I think wherever Daniel goes will be the best driver lineup. But Hulkenberg's very strong. And it'll be interesting with the new minimum driver weight requirements. Hulkenberg's quite a tall driver. And I think this will be helpful and advantageous for Nico Hulkenberg. Just see if Daniel's going to be good enough. Nico's won everything. He won Le Mans his first go. He won every series he's raced in except for F1.
Yep.
It's either his rookie season or his second season, he'll win the championship.
Yep.
The guy's a freak. He comes to F1 and he's just...
It's a big moment for Hulkenberg because he's a highly rated driver, never really been in a decent car. People think he's so much better than he's shown, and now he gets a chance to prove that against Dan, a known race winner for Red Bull, highly rated. Dan comes in with a brand new contract. It's the third biggest contract in Formula One after Hamilton, Sebastian. Dan's got the next biggest. Hulkenberg's hovering down about a third or a quarter of what Dan's making. This is his chance to show his worth.
Yeah, it is. It'll be interesting because this is Nico's year to prove his point. This is Nico's year to prove that he is worthy of the hype that a lot of people give him, including myself. And to have these two guys driving in the same team is amazing for me because I love them both.
You always have been a huge fan of Hulkenberg, and for good reason. And of course, Dan, just awesome.
He's the man.
Little Aussie bloody legend that you are, Dan.
Yep.
I know you're listening. He's going to be on the podcast soon.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. He loves this podcast.
Yeah.
We'll get him on soon. We've got contacts, new contacts.
We are making contacts, baby.
We are making Formula One great again. Well, we're trying to.
One soundbite at a time.
We're trying. We do try. So that is huge. Also for Dan, he has to beat Hulkenberg this year. He's got no choice. He can't not beat Hulkenberg if he wants to prove that he is the driver that he is regarded as.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Very, very tough. And another very exciting element is the Red Bull Renault factor, with Red Bull Renault not having the best of relationships after last year. Red Bull had the Renault engine, ditched it for the Honda, said a lot of bad things about the Renault. So then Renault retaliated, stole Dan.
Yep.
So there's some blood in the water. There's going to be, it's going to be on.
There's chum.
There's going to be some fireworks, and that is going to be the highlight of this year.
I just love hearing Marco and Christian Horner talking about how amazing Honda is, and it's the easiest thing, and just I think it's really childish.
Yeah.
Just go racing, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I agree. So Renault's got a new lineup as well. Then we go to Haas, same They've got Grosjean,
Same boys, Grosjean and Magnussen.
the Mad Magnussen, the crazy Dane. Big shout out to all our Danish listeners. Love you guys in Scandinavia. Then heading down to McLaren, new driver with two new drivers.
Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris.
Lando Norris, the young gun.
Yep.
Runner-up.
In the Formula 2 series last year.
Englishman, little fella, looks pretty fast.
Yep, he'll do all right.
He's good.
But I just don't think that... I don't know if Sainz is the leader of the team. I don't rate Sainz.
Nor do I.
No, I think his dad's better than him.
Yeah. Racing Points has Sergio from Mexico. He stays. In comes Daddy's boy. His dad bought the company. Dad bought the...
Rich.
The outfit and put his son as the driver. Very nice. Why wouldn't you?
Yep.
Bit of nepotism. It's always good in Formula One.
New sponsor, the Sport Pesa Racing Point Formula 1 team. The car is called the RP19 with the Tijuana Tussler and Daddy's boy.
Do we rate that driving lineup?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all.
You'd say that's one of the weakest. Then we've got Alfa Romeo. Kimi, our friend Kimi Räikkönen. Love that guy.
Wow.
Crazy Finn. We love him. He's moved from Ferrari. He's at Alfa Romeo. Kind of hit the jackpot. Car's looking pretty bloody good.
Looks good. Looks quick. There's a lot of involvement with Ferrari. Getting a closer collaboration, make their car a little bit better. And the Italian making his official Formula 1 debut after 2 races in 2017. Antonio Giovinazzi. So he raced for Sauber for the first 2 races of Australia and China? No, Bahrain.
Do you rate him?
I do.
He seems to be the least most talked about of the new drivers.
Yep. He had in 2018 he was a Ferrari simulator and reserve and development driver. In 2017 he was the Ferrari reserve and he made his F1 debut in Melbourne, China. Both weekends he showed the pace and finished 12th in Melbourne, only to crash in qualifying and the race in China.
Right.
So he has a lot of speed. When he raced in GP2, which it was then, he was a runner-up to Pierre Gasly. He had a tough start to that year, but then fought back later on in the year and nearly got the championship, but Pierre got it on the last weekend of the year.
More importantly, does he have personality? Because there's a lot of young guys.
He's Italian, so I hope he does. He's got to have
personality.
He's got lovely hair.
Great hair. Talks with his hands a lot. Very passionate.
It's important.
Fiery.
Yeah.
Hope to see some fireworks from that cockpit this year.
When he was racing, his racing personality was very interesting. He was very aggressive on the road and made some really good overtakes and passes in GP2. So, yeah.
That's good. Because, you know, Norris and Russell and Albon, they seem pretty boring. Seem pretty dull, the new wave of drivers coming through.
Maybe call them instead of the British trio, the British Sayo.
British snooze fest. Jesus. And Williams. Robert Kubica. Count Dracula.
Bobby K.
He's back. One-armed bandit. He's looking good, although such a shame he's at Williams. And
you reckon he'd be a good archer? You know, they really only use two fingers to pull it back and let it go. I reckon he's...
Oh, because he's got movement of 2 fingers in that dicky arm, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, all you have to do is just hold
the quill very, very tenderly. Holding that quill tenderly. He could do that.
Yeah.
Surely.
We need an archery challenge to take down to Melbourne.
It does make sense. We do like to make F1 great again. We'd like to come up with ideas. There's a great idea.
We just
an archery challenge.
Why don't archery challenge?
And teaming up with him is, of course, George Russell, winner of Formula 2 last year. Young gun. Looks pretty quick, unfortunately. Won't be able to see much of it this year. He's in a Williams.
Williams missed the first couple of days of testing.
Oh, let's get into testing now.
We're going to go into testing. There's no point talking about Williams because...
Oh, boy. Well, let's start with Williams.
All right. Let's start at the bottom.
Gee whiz. I mean, what a terrible way to start a season.
Not great.
What happened? It starts from the top. Surely.
Maybe because, they use...
Is it Claire Williams?
They use facsimiles.
Yeah.
So they probably didn't get the facts.
There's a hold up with the paper. The
so
paper feed.
Like, you were supposed to be here. Yeah, the paper
feed ran out and it got clogged. You know that when you unclog the paper. Does anyone know how to unclog this fax machine? No.
Yeah.
Just kick it.
I want to go to Williams and just see these massive dents in the fax machine. What happened? We missed testing.
Yeah, testing.
So it's like they got the late call up, like, you guys going to come here or not? So they arrived 2.5 days late.
Jeez.
They arrived on the Wednesday, 4 a.m. Had the car out just after lunch, which was impressive in that count, but they were a couple of days late. So,
And every day is vital in testing.
this is it. This is all you
This
get.
is all you get.
Before Melbourne.
And there's obviously Formula One are watching whether or not they're taking these cars out secretly in their own. I mean, they know this, don't they? I mean, you can't secretly take your car out.
I don't think the Williams would get far anyway.
Well, no. We would have, but the facts.
They can do a filming day, which I think they get maybe 2 of them a year, and that's you can only do 100 kilometres, which is only a third race distance. But the last day of testing for Robert Kubica was cut short through. They called it the car was tired.
Tired of getting kicked. Tired of getting verbally abused.
What happened? He's napping. I caught the car napping.
Look at it.
Turn 3. It's
snoring.
yeah.
Oh,
Robert
yeah.
Kubica need to slip a digit in there to fire it up again.
What a disaster.
So the Williams is part Cheech and Chong, I think. It's just a little bit
It is.
laconic.
And it starts, I mean, this is a flow-on effect now. They already they lost, a quarter? They lost more than a quarter of all their track time to refine, to change, to get data, important stuff, mileage, tyre wear, all this fuel, everything they needed to, and it's gone.
Gone.
They're going to be playing catch-up. Not only are they struggling financially, now time-wise, development-wise. Not a good start.
Is it Claire Williams? Is it Paddy Lowe?
Who knows?
What's the problem? But
We'll say the
Melbourne-
facts. We'll say the facts
they're
until
a bit shit.
until further notice. We'll say it's a facsimile machine.
Yeah.
Until we find
It's
out
the
more,
dented facts.
we'll find out.
We could make excuses for every team.
We could. We really could.
And we've already used dented facts.
We don't need excuses for any other team because they all look
They all turned up.
pretty good. There seems to be a bunching of the field. Last year we had very clearly a front group, Mercedes,
Championship
Ferrari,
A,
Red Bull, and then we had the rest.
the B championship,
Williams seems to have dropped off quite clearly
to a C championship.
to a C championship. They're sitting there alone, but that midfield is very close. And obviously testing doesn't show you much. You don't know. You can't compare accurately. You kind of have to read between the lines and do a lot of guesswork. What are your thoughts on who's the fastest? Well, let's just say for the first week. Let's go first week of testing. Who looked the fastest?
The fastest, I would
Out of the
say
blocks.
Ferrari.
They look very fast.
Out of the blocks, and also by the end of the test. Mercedes did a time, Hamilton did time quite close to Ferrari's best time. But in terms of lap times they did on bigger fuel runs, on harder tyres, Ferrari looks like it's
It just seems
step ahead.
Fast and hugs corners, sticks on that road. It looks good.
Yeah, it's like it hugs like a.
Now, what would you say? Hugs like a
Down syndrome kid.
like.
They love a cuddle. I've never met a Down syndrome kid who doesn't love a cuddle.
That's that can't be kosher. Can we say that?
I just did.
You just did.
Come on, who doesn't love a cuddle?
I love a cuddle. So
It hugs the corners.
yes,
Just like.
Luke, who hasn't been on a date for 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Ouch.
I'm like a koala bear. Just hold on, and just that awkward length. You're just like,
Why do you have to go home now?
this is
Can we just get a cup of tea?
the hugs ended, Luke. No, it hasn't. The hug hasn't ended.
Oh dear. Ferrari.
We hug.
We very manly. It's a sports guy thing. Ferrari, very fast at first. You know who else was really fast out of the blocks? Surprisingly, McLaren was really quick out of the blocks.
They were.
But were they just glory lapping?
Yep.
Low fuel.
Lando
Fast
Norris
tyres.
was at Science. He said we won't be on pole in Melbourne.
But what we're going to do is just go really fast so it looks like we're doing well. We want some media coverage.
Williams did that in Mark Webber's day. Was it them or Jaguar? No, it was Williams, because he knew as soon as the first 2 days of tests, they're like, this car's a piece of shit. But we're struggling for sponsors, so let's put in some good times, and hopefully people go, hey, you guys are running pretty quick there.
Clever.
We want to get on board. And still a piece of shit. So maybe McLaren could be doing that. They don't have major sponsors. They do have a couple of new sponsors, but they don't have major, like a team name sponsor. So McLaren were good, quick. As we said before, Alonso came in, stole the party. They said he will be testing the car at some point this year.
He can't get out, can he? He wants to stick around.
Oh, and he realised how quick it was and went,
he went,
can I get back in?
I'm back. He brought his helmet with him. To testing. Red Bull, how did they look? They weren't that convincing. The new Honda looks good, looks reliable. They pumped out a lot of laps, the Honda, both with Toro Rosso and Red Bull. But nothing really special that first week.
That's the great thing about Honda now is they have two teams. So they have two engines running every day, where before it was only one. So that's a great benefit for Honda. The Toro Rosso showed some fast lap times, but again, I think that's low fuel, fast tyres, trying to get the maximum out of it.
Yep.
Push it a little bit because maybe Red Bull didn't want to show Red Bull's hand, but Red Bull did some long runs and fuel corrected, going by some of the analysts that Red Bull will still be there or thereabouts.
Top three.
Yep. Mercedes showed their hand quite big in the last 2 days, and everyone's gone, whoa, Mercedes probably isn't as bad as we thought it would be. Because they did think it was going to be like a Ferrari, Red Bull, then maybe Mercedes, Haas, Renault. That's what won. I think it was Karen Shandok went along that lines, but...
So Renault didn't show that much the first week. Renault had the issue with Dan's... DRS. The wing just flew off.
Yep.
It's just weirdest thing ever.
Yep. He drove so fast, he broke it.
That good. That's how fast a Renault is. It's that quick.
That's how fast he is. Didn't break when Hulkenberg was driving it.
So no, that's true.
There's stress on a car, and then there's Daniel Ricciardo stress.
Which is just pure awesome.
This bloke's quick.
100% awesome. 110.
You've got to build it stronger.
Damn. Goes to 11.
Yeah.
This car goes to 11 when Dan's sitting in it.
Yeah.
Seriously. So Renault didn't look like anything special. It looked okay.
I think first week some analysts were saying that they were the second quickest team or the third quickest team.
Okay.
But other analysts were like, maybe not so much.
Okay. McLaren, of course, out of the blocks look quick, but that's deceptive. I think they were just glory lapping there. We're expecting them in the midfields or that first week. It was pretty good.
It'd be interesting who's at the top of the midfield, but also because I think it's clearly like a Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, but it's closer.
Yeah.
I think Ferrari has jumped Mercedes.
Right.
But
I mean, Mercedes, 5-time world champions, they know their biz.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see what happens from their back. Who's your prediction is going to be best of the rest of the championship?
Well, looking at testing, which is all we can really do, I think you would still have to say that Renault would be the favourite coming out of that middle group. When I say middle group, we're putting Williams at the end. We're putting
C group.
Yeah, we're putting Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, probably in that order.
You know what we could call the C championship? The Effing One podcast championship.
The Effing One podcast championship.
So we can go to Williams in Melbourne and go, listen, you're fighting for the Effing One podcast championship here.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck. You're odds on. We think you can win this. Just stay focused and about a second and a half behind everyone else, and you'll be right. You'll win this. You're a shoo-in, Williams.
Yeah.
Claire, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'd say Renault is looking the strongest. Then either Haas or they were very strong last year. This was the order of last year's World Championship. So it's very similar. I think it's very similar. There might be some changes, but at the moment, out of testing, you have to say Renault, Haas,
Alfa
Romeo, Racing Point, and they'll obviously get better during the season with so much cash. With
Racing Point saying they're bringing a whole new upgrade for Melbourne. So it'll pretty much be... There'll be a lot of appendages and front wings and little things that will come in Melbourne. You go, we didn't see that before. Because they know it's going to work. No point showing on track. Testing's all about making sure everything works.
Yep.
And if everything does, then what they're bringing to Melbourne will work.
Yep. And there's almost, Toro Rosso, McLaren at the back end of that group. There's almost like two, that's almost split in half, isn't it now, that middle section? It's almost like, at the moment, it looks like Renault, Alfa Romeo, Haas, and then it looks like it might be McLaren, Toro Rosso, and who's one? Racing Point. Kind of looks like that. That's my prediction.
Then Williams.
But it's just testing, so we don't really know.
Yeah.
So that second week, there was a few crashes. We had Sebastian spin off and crash.
Pierre Gasly had a couple of crashes.
Gasly, he got shaken up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Freaked out.
Yeah.
Little Frenchman, we love him. Anything of any note in that second week?
Albon had a crash in the first test. He had a little bit of a spinny spin.
Spinny
I
spin.
think his first lap out.
Yep.
Had a spin. There was... I think Sebastian had a wheel failure going into turn 3, which is a fast right-hander going up around the hill. It's kind of like a 180 degree, but flat out. It's the one where Grosjean spun in front of everyone and just kept it gassed. Yeah, he had a wheel failure. His front left wheel just...
Yep.
And then he went straight into the wall.
Gone.
Big accident.
Big accident. Shake up.
They lost a lot of time there. And Red Bull lost a lot of time with Pierre Gasly's 2 crashes.
Yep. So testing, it now stops, and then they're off to Melbourne next.
2 weeks' time.
2 weeks. We're going to be catching up with Dan. Hopefully, before then, we've got contact with head of Renault marketing, so we're going to be hopefully getting him on the phone.
Yep.
And news in just today, Effing One podcast. Going to be in the media tent at the Melbourne Grand Prix.
Is it our own tent?
It's our own tent.
Have we erected our own tent and it says Effing One Podcast Media?
Yep. We're outside the racetrack and the gates, but it's like on the...
We're not even in Melbourne. We'll be in Sydney somewhere.
Someone's lawn. We're just camping out on someone's lawn.
In Canterbury.
We've just got media written on our tent. So people think that we're really important. But the truth is, we do have, and the email is here somewhere. I've already read it to you. It's very exciting. But, for a small Aussie podcast, really...
1 year in.
Just a couple of blokes who know nothing.
Talking shit.
Just talking shit, with very few listeners except your mum.
Your mum.
Luke's mum is a big fan.
Smushy McTransfish.
It's a big thing for us. We get to go to the Melbourne Grand Prix.
Your masturbating brother.
Correct. He's just hasn't stopped. He hasn't stopped.
I thought somebody might have taken a break because it's hot.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We are pleased to inform you, email coming in today at 1 o'clock, that your FIA Radio Media Accreditation for the Formula One Rolex Australian Grand Prix 2019 has been approved.
Boom!
Mic drop!
That just happened. Don't drop it.
Oh, Jesus.
He dropped it.
Oh, shit, sorry. I actually dropped that. So, yeah, we are officially...
We'll be there.
Media.
We'll be there.
We're not just a couple of sweaty podcasters.
We'll still be sweaty.
We are still sweaty. But we'll also be turning up.
We'll be there.
Probably getting kicked out for eating too much free food.
Jumping the fence.
Yeah. Luke, get more. We haven't got any money for dinner. We need more canapes.
So what if we just have this large jacket and just fill the pockets of souvlaki, coleslaw.
Yeah. That's the coleslaw pocket. Go
Don't
with
put
a
that
spoon.
in
No
there.
fingers in there. No fingers.
Oh, thank God it's just you and me eating from there.
Anyway, that's going to be exciting. We're going to be there.
Well done.
We'll be podcasting from the hotel room.
Yeah. We're going to try and do one every night.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to be up the next day early.
And
late sessions.
I got my wife and kids are safely distance away.
2,000 kilometres.
2,000 kilometres. Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll be getting texts, but I can not answer those text messages or those phone calls. It's quite easy for me.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. Now, what are you looking forward to most 2019 season? Luke, what kind of battles, what kind of rivalries, what's going to be some highlights you're looking forward to?
I'm really happy that the Australian Grand Prix is not a real guinea pig this year in regards to like changing qualifying and doing something stupid like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing who the pecking order is and who performs and trying to beat you in the predictions.
Good luck.
That struggle. I'm going to get outside influence.
I did kind of smash you last year.
You know, we should get some kind of critter to do predictions, and we'll put it on Instagram. So we'll have, which team made out of this, and whichever one the snail goes to, or the...
Yes.
Yeah. I reckon we could do that.
Good call. That critter has got more information and more knowledge about Formula One than we do.
They got everything. We need an octopus or something.
Yeah.
Where do we get an octopus from?
Like
Those are
cockroach?
Japanese.
There's a lot of cockroaches in this house. I'm just saying. I'm just telling
Not
you.
a cockroach.
I saw one scurrying earlier, and I think
that was producer Pete.
we put him in a jar, and he has two options. We put a little bit of food on one side, a little bit on the other. See where he goes.
Yep. Is it going to be Hamilton or Bottas for pole?
We'll call him Hamilton the cockroach.
No, he's not cockroachy.
Bottas.
Bottas.
Definitely. Yeah, so lots of good stuff. Rivalries. I mean, obviously, Dan and Max.
Well, with the new driver lineup, we did this at the end of the season last year. We did a bit of a who's going to win which fight. So, Perez and Stroll, who's going to win in that fight?
Oh, yeah, the driver lineups, head to head. Oh, you'd have to say Perez.
Easily.
I can't imagine Stroll.
Unless Stroll pays someone money to
pays Perez
to beat him up.
Yeah.
Beat yourself up.
Yeah. Here's some cash. Buy Tijuana.
Hamilton Bottas, we've solved that one. Max Verstappen and Pierre Gasly.
Max will beat him.
Yeah, be throwing clogs
comfortably.
at him or something.
Yeah.
Raikkonen and Giovinazzi.
Oh, Raikkonen will win that.
Yeah.
He looks pretty fast.
Yeah.
Experienced.
Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hulkenberg.
This will be close. This will be really close. Well, Hulkenberg's got the advantage of already being in this team, established.
He's got good reach.
Good reach. He's knows the car, and maybe it's more tailored to him with previous development.
I can see Ricciardo biting him.
I can see some. Yeah, the honey badger is going to be biting. Yeah.
Arr.
I'm still going to say Dan's going to come out on top, but it's going to be close.
Yep, I agree. Kvyat and Albon.
I'll go Kvyat,
The missile.
the underrated missile.
Purely for his arsenal that he's got behind him with the Russian Empire.
Yeah. Well, there's some serious. Yeah.
Although, TIE fighters.
Bit of Muay Thai. He might bring out a bit of Muay Thai.
Yeah.
But he did spend a lot of time in England, so he's pretty soft and pale and boring.
Geezer.
Kind of slightly dull.
Kubica and Russell.
Kubica and Russell, that is going to be interesting. Russell's a good young driver. Kubica, has he still got it? Can he drive with one hand? I don't know.
That's what I'm interested in. I want to know how
that's
Kubica goes.
interesting. I'm going to say Kubica.
I want to see Kubica in the wet, like battling side by side with someone.
Yep.
I don't know if it'll be a lap car he'll be battling, but
yeah.
Sebastian Vettel, Charles Leclerc for the championship.
Another great battle between these two teammates. Wow. A lot of money's on Charles Leclerc.
My money's on Chuck.
Really? I'm going to say Sebastian.
Finger boy's been fingered.
We might actually have the only difference being this. I think Sebastian will step up, and I think Charles, he made a couple of little errors in testing. He's going to be amazing. I don't know if he's going to be straight up amazing. I think by the time he really gets comfortable halfway through the season, it might be out of reach. I'm going to say Sebastian. I think Sebastian's going to win Melbourne, and I think he's going to pip Leclerc.
I think Sebastian might win Melbourne.
I think it might be a three-way for the world title. I think it might go Sebastian, Leclerc, Hamilton for the title.
I agree. I think Chuck will come out.
And how's Bottas going to fare?
I think it'll be similar to 2010, where Vettel, which will be Leclerc, will be third in the championship, and then you'll have Hamilton and Vettel battling each other, and then Leclerc will run off into the distance and win the championship.
That'd be nice. I'd like to see a change-up.
That's my idea. Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean on. Can we call Kevin Magnussen the new stay-at-home Viking?
I'd like to be able to throw...
Are we still going to go with suck my balls, Magnussen? Because we're going to throw the nicknames back out there for you guys to vote on.
Yeah, we're going to change the nicknames up. The nicknames have to be changed up by the Effing One podcast Twitter page listeners.
And Instagram, we'll put some up on the Insta story.
I think every week we need to throw a couple of names out and try to get some feedback. I would think that... I think the Dane might do it. He's a good driver. He's aggressive, gets his elbows out.
Romain had a slow start to last season, didn't score points till about the 8th race or something.
And he whinges a lot.
And he did pretty well from there on. I hope the Haasholes lighten up their act after, when they didn't put his tyres on properly, he went around and consoled all of them. And then when he had a crash, he walked through the pit lane and put his hands out for high fives, and everyone ignored him.
Ouch, that was embarrassing.
It was like a cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that.
Your team's got to high five you,
Yeah,
even
I
if you
didn't
fuck.
like
Even if you
Pat him
stuff
on
up.
the ass. Do something. And then he walked around the corner through his helmet, chucked an absolute spaz because he didn't get a high five. Yeah. That's on you, mechanics who couldn't put a fucking tyre on.
Well, they should have won. They should have won the fourth place last year. They should have beaten Renault.
They should have
picked up those points at the beginning of the year. They would have. They're going to be fast, but they
And-
better not stuff up again.
McLaren.
McLaren,
Sainz and Norris.
Norris.
Chuck Norris. There'll be two Chucks.
I'm going to say Norris might have a bit of a crack there, have a sniff. I don't rate science really, as you don't.
Yeah, I think Sainz will have him the first few races, and then Norris will get his feet.
I think so too. It might be a Dan versus Sebastian at Red Bull scenario. Very nice. We should probably thank your mum
Yep.
for the food she's left us today. There is no theme because this is just testing. So we've got testing food. She's just left some little testing samples, little finger food. She's left some testing. What are you doing?
Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum. Oh, it's a message from Mum. Hi, Mum. Hi, Mrs. Luke. Thank you for the spread.
This is on Instagram.
Oh,
This is your
fantastic.
video.
Effing One Podcast Instagram. Check it out. And
What does she bake for us today?
looks like we've got some lamington.
I can't show it on the video because it's
Too delicious.
too much
Too
food. I don't want
delicious.
people to get turned on by all this food.
That looks like quiche. Some sort of quiche. And I think that might be testicles.
That's me.
Battered.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, they're yours. They're alive. Those ones are real. But I might have a nibble anyway. What are you... Okay, well, let's go. Let's get out of here. Effing One Podcast Twitter page. We'll see you in Melbourne. We're going to book our flights, Luke. We're going to get some accommodation.
Yep.
We're heading down.
Bunk beds. Shotgun tops up.
Damn it. I was hoping to go top.
Super duper.
And we're going to be
I'm going to piss on you.
we're going to be in the media tent.
Oh, no, R.
Effing One
Kelly on you.
Podcast.
Elevated hand slap.
High five. I like. Oh, we didn't say goodbye to his. We never Skype Sebastian. Too bad. You know what? We'll talk to Sebastian later.
He's still on hold.
He's on hold. Just hang up on him.
Yeah.
All right. See you in Melbourne.
Hey guys, I'm still on hold. Guys, it's me, Sebastian Vettel.